She didn't get to go today.
Hey guys, how's everything going tonight? Well, it's night. Today was a washout. Me and a buddy of mine was going to ride to Myrtle Beach Bike Rally. It started yesterday, Friday. This is Saturday. Started on the 9th. Um, but it's kind of a washout. I'd watched the weather last few days. It's calling for rain, and it bounced around. It got below 20%, then it was 40%, then it was 20%, then it was 70%. So we kind of watched the weather until this morning. About time to leave, we were going to pull out about 8 and go down there just for today, just a day ride, and hang out down there. I was actually going to talk to Pyro. Pyro is a minister with His Labor and Few motorcycle ministry, and I was gonna, put him on camera and put him on the my YouTube channel and let him talk about what he's involved in. He's been set up at Suck Bang and Blow down there for many years. I've seen him down there, and right at the back where the big stage is, in the back lot behind the SBB, he has always set up a booth back there with all his ministry literature and talking to people about the Lord. And it's a great thing he's doing. And I wanted to go down there. I had communicated with him, and was planning to go down there and talk with him a little bit about what his ministry is, and you know, how he got started and how long he's been doing it, and all that. And but the weather didn't cooperate. My bones are getting too old to ride in the cold and the wet and the rain. I think the high was like supposed to be 67 today and raining, which would be pretty chilly. So me and my buddy that was going with me, we decided to opt out today. I don't know, maybe it'll work out this coming week, maybe to run down there for a day and do that. It's supposed to rain pretty much a lot of the week. I think we got a few days there that it's not going to be a big precipitation, a big chance of it, but for the most part, it's a chance of rain. So anyway, I was going to go talk to Pyro. Like I said, he's with a motorcycle ministry. Now there's differences. You've got motorcycle clubs, and some Christian organizations are motorcycle clubs. In other words, they're set up just like uh, some of your other biker clubs, even your one percenter clubs. They have rules, and you have to go through a hang around process and a prospect process, and then down the road, if you get a unanimous vote and the club votes on you to be in their family, a part of their club, a member, then they patch you in. And there are some Christian motorcycle clubs that are pretty much in line with that and set up like any other club. Motorcycle ministries are not, so they're not that structured. They can patch you in right away if you're a Christian, and they may have certain guidelines that you have to meet, but you can be patched in pretty quick with those a lot of times. So I was just going to talk to Pyro today about his labor and few and his personal ministry and what all he's involved in. But maybe I get to do that sometime in the near future. I think he told me that his next place he's setting up is Little Sturgis in Kentucky. But anyway, maybe I'll get that opportunity. Um, Myrtle Beach, it started in 1940. It's been going for a while. I'm in my shop in my big chair. This is a big chair. This was my dad's chair. He passed away in he was 6'9", about 275. I'm 6 foot, about 190 maybe. So I feel like a little kid in this in this, but I like this chair. I can spread out in it. But anyway, the Myrtle Beach Bike Week, it started in 1940. And I remember going down there in the 70s. Of course, it wasn't commercialized like it is today. All the rallies are very commercialized now, and a lot of vendors, and that's okay. That's cool. But back in the day, in the early days, it was it wasn't as commercialized. But I know in the 90s and early 2000s, it really built up. Myrtle Beach was probably one of the biggest on the East Coast at the time. They drew in about 350,000 motorcycles. Now, Daytona brings in around 500 to 600, so it was never as big as that. But the area that it covered was much smaller too. And Daytona is so widespread, from Orlando to Flagler Beach. Of course, Daytona and down below Daytona, I mean, it's just spread out so far. And they'll have 500,000 to 600,000 bikers down there. But Myrtle Beach, they had about 300 and maybe 350,000 at one time, and it was a smaller area. It covered Murrells Inlet, Myrtle Beach, and North Myrtle Beach, pretty much. And so it was more compact. So it kind of gave you the same big feeling as Daytona. And back, like I said, in the 90s and the early 2000s, most of your major vendors were down there. They sat up in Myrtle Beach or Broadway at the beach, and you go anywhere from North Myrtle Beach all the way down to Murrells Inlet, and there was vendors everywhere. And you had, like I said, all your major vendors, and of course your smaller vendors also. But around 2008, Myrtle Beach decided they didn't want the bikers anymore. So they made a lot of laws to keep the bikers out. First, what they done was they didn't give any permits for vendors. So vendors were not allowed in the city of Myrtle Beach. Now, Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. But far as the city limits, they made a bunch of laws or ordinances that kept bikers away. The first one, like I said, they did not give permits to the vendors anymore. And most of your large vendors sat up in Myrtle Beach, particularly around Broadway at the beach. Had a big parking lot there, and they would bring in these tractor trailers, and a lot of your major vendors, aftermarket vendors, come in there. So that was eliminated. Then they made other rules. You had to have stock pipes. They had road checks where they actually checked the decibels, sound decibels coming out of your bike, and if it basically wasn't a stock bike, they wrote you tickets on it. The other thing they done was made a helmet law to go through the city of Myrtle Beach, you had to have a helmet. If you didn't have a helmet on, they ticketed you. They had a bunch of other laws that they had passed. You couldn't have more than one motorcycle per parking space. So where you used to get about 4 bikes, maybe squeeze 5 into a parking spot, no longer. You could only use that parking space for one motorcycle. So that eliminated a lot of the parking in parking areas. You couldn't park on the grass. There was a lot of laws that the city of Myrtle Beach passed to keep the bikers out, and they let it be known that they did not want the bikers there. Now, after 1940, this has been 68 years that the bikers have been coming there, but they no longer wanted them there. 2009, I bought one of the shirts. They printed it up. Let me show you here. Can you see that? Yeah, I bought this shirt. Not wanted. Myrtle Beach, 2009. The rally that could not be stopped. Well, they pretty much stopped the rally in Myrtle Beach. Not in the county, but in the city. Now, I don't know how long it took, but after a year or so, and I think ABATE was instrumental in this. They took Myrtle Beach to court about the helmet law. And Myrtle Beach lost. They couldn't make their own laws and override state law. The state of South Carolina, you're not required to wear a helmet if you're 21 or older. Now, if you're under that, you have to have a helmet on when you're riding. But if you're 21 or older in the state of South Carolina, you do not have to wear a helmet. And Myrtle Beach had made their own law that you had to have a helmet to ride in the city of Myrtle Beach. Well, they lost that case, and from what I understand, they had to reimburse all those people that they wrote tickets on for helmet law. But today, now you can ride through Myrtle Beach on your motorcycle, and they've eased up on that. Of course, you don't have to wear a helmet. They've eased up on the noise ordinance. You don't necessarily have to have stock pipes. I don't think I'd go through there acting like some kind of crazy revving up the engine or racing down the boulevard. But they've let up on a lot of that. You can go through Myrtle Beach, city of Myrtle Beach, without a helmet, and you can have your aftermarket pipes, and they kind of eased up on all that. But still, yet they don't allow the vendors there. They don't give any permits for vendors in the city of Myrtle Beach. Now, Horry County, they still can set up, but they're usually Georgetown area where the Beaver Bar and all that down that way. They start like this. They started this Friday, and go through this weekend and next weekend. But in Horry County, the county Myrtle Beach is in, I believe they can only start Monday. As far as the vendors opening, the vendors can't open until this coming Monday through the next weekend. But as far as Myrtle Beach, the city limits, there is no longer a bike rally. They still call it the Myrtle Beach Bike Rally, and you can buy t-shirts down there that says Myrtle Beach Bike Rally. But really, it's not the Myrtle Beach Bike Rally from my point of view. Some of them call it different things, and you can go down there and you can still get Myrtle Beach pins and shirts and patches and things like that. And you can also go to Murrells Inlet and get patches and things that says Murrells Inlet. So it did change after 2008, after all those years. There's still no bike rally in the city of Myrtle Beach. You know, it was a good rally. It had a lot of things going on, and like I said, you could go from North Myrtle Beach all the way through Myrtle Beach to Murrells Inlet, and they had a lot of stuff that went on. A lot of vendors, a lot of things to see. They had bike shows, all kind of things that's not down there anymore. It's basically went pretty much from what it was in the late 90s, early 2000s to today. It's basically, you know, a few bars. And within that, you got your vendors around that. You got the Harley Davidson place in North Myrtle Beach. They sell the bikes and apparel. And then the Harley Davidson in Myrtle Beach, they you know, they have vendors in the back around their store, and there's a lot of vendors set up there. Other than that, you got Spokes and Bones bar, and they got vendors there. Then you've got the SBB Sup Bang and Blow, and then they got the vendors there. And then the Beaver Bar down there, they have vendors there, and then across the road from that, they have vendors over there. And all of those places have bands, pretty much, except the Harley dealerships. So, you know, that's kind of how things have evolved through the years in Myrtle Beach. But, you know, I tell people a lot of times, it's not really a rally. It's not like Sturgis or Daytona. Those are the other two I'm familiar with. I've never been to Laconia or any of those, but comparing Myrtle Beach to Daytona and Sturgis, it's not really a rally. But hey, it's okay. It's fun to go down there for a day, you know, hang out, go to the vendors, you know, and you know, buy merchandise if that's what you want to. A lot of people go down there to drink a lot. If you're into that, there's plenty down there to do. But yeah, it's changed through the years, and I didn't get to go today. The rain kind of messed us up, and maybe, hopefully, I'll get to go. Maybe one day this week, maybe play hooky from work one day and ride down there. I don't know. If it works out, it works out. But anyway, that's kind of the a little bit of the history on Myrtle Beach. You know, all these bike rallies. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, it's just drunken madhouse of nudity and belligerent people and people that's acting out and, you know, doing all this stupid stuff. And there is a lot of it. If that's what you're into, you certainly can find that. It's like anything else, though. If there's things you want to avoid, you can avoid and never see. It depends on where you're at, what time you're there, you know, and all those conditions or things play a part in that. So you can go down there. There's a lot of people go down there to drink and party and stay up all night and do crazy things. And then you got people that go down there that are actually ministers. They're reaching out to people that, you know, they need help. They need the Lord. You know, they need people to pray with them, and I've been down there on both sides of it, and there's a lot of guys and gals that go down there and they do a good work. They have ministry tents, they sing the gospel, they hand out tracts, some of them even give gas away. at the gas pumps to be able to witness and share Jesus with people. So, you know, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly down there. So, but anyway, I hope to be able to get hooked up with Pyro and talk with him a little bit about his ministry somewhere down the road. And there's some others that I want to also get together with and talk with and share, and share that on this YouTube channel. So with that, I'll close here and catch up with y'all the next time something's going on or I want to talk about something. But y'all have a good night, and we'll catch you down the road.